Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Investor More, and we're back at the Ocho, which I thought would be done with drama for a while, but I was wrong. So we had an incident here yesterday that actually did not involve the squatters or the other evicted tenant, but something completely different back in one of the garages. So we'll talk about that. There was police involved, and I'm trying to get as much information as I can, but and we have some decisions to make too based on what happened. But yeah, the Ocho has been crazy. My whole real estate life has been crazy lately. I feel like I'm starting to get to the point where people won't believe me with all the stuff that's happening. It's been so crazy, but yeah, it is all real. It's all been happening. And it's all been happening in like 3 months to a very short period of time. So you can see the squatter unit down there, and our guys are putting in new windows right now. So we didn't do windows on a lot of it because the windows were actually in pretty good shape in most of the building, but those were real rough. The seals were broken. One of the windows was actually bent and destroyed because I think the squatters were doing something with it, or they broke in that way. I don't know. But they are doing new windows there, so that'll be nice. And then we're going to take a look back here at the garage and see how it looks today after we had the issues yesterday. The police did arrest someone, had a standoff for quite some time, and I was able to film some of it, but they didn't want me filming a lot of it. And I had every right to film it, right? I could have filmed it from the public street. It's my property. But I've had a lot of dealings with the police lately, so I also want to stay on their good side, so I didn't want to like just stand there and film things while they asked me to move or leave. So we'll see how it looks. I have not been here today yet. So, well, there's some cars still. Okay. And we have a story on these cars as well. So we'll talk about that. And they did get the board back up. Okay. Is it locked again? I don't know if it's locked. Their window's open. That's not good. No, it's not locked. They do have a garage door opener because we bought them all garage door openers if they want them, because there are security issues. And there were cameras up all over as well. And that car, I don't know why their window was open. That's weird. There's a camera there. So we will, boy, I just remembered. I should have been posting an eviction notice today on there, and I didn't do it. But we'll talk about that here as well too. And maybe I'll end up doing that tomorrow. But love the likes, love the comments, love the shares. Keep those coming. And we'll talk about what happened. Oh, we're back at the Ocho, and we are checking on the remodel progress on the squatter unit. And apparently this property is just a magnet for fun, because I heard some yelling and different stuff going on. Thought it was maybe blocks away, and then it was weird because there are 2 trucks in the street here, kind of double parked. I'm like, that's a little strange, nobody's getting out. And then I saw a policeman walk over around the garages. I'm like, what is going on? And he's checking out these garages and these apartments. And I walked closer back there after checking my laundry money, and there's like 5 cops back there trying to get someone to open up one of the garages we have rented, saying they have a warrant for his arrest and different stuff. And I was just talking to the police just now, and he's just confirming what his name was and who it was leased to. And so now he just went back there to check on them, and they're waving me away to not film back there. I did get a little bit of footage I'll show you here in a second, but I guess we'll figure out what is going on, because 2023 is starting out just as crazy as 2022. So we kept driving by very conspicuously, and the police kept looking at us. Like I said, we're on public roads and streets. I can film. It's perfectly legal, but that still doesn't mean that I want the police to really be pissed off at me. But you can see them all right there. And there must have been 5 police cars in front of the garage, another 2 or 3 unmarked cars on the road in front of the Ocho, and then like half a block away, at least 3 other unmarked cars kind of sitting there waiting in case the guy tried to run or something. But I don't know exactly what he did. I've been waiting for him to show up on the Weld County arrest report. They usually post that every day, and I have not seen it yet. They said it was for a warrant. They told me they chased or saw the guy go in the garage. That's how they knew he was in there. And that I'm like, it must have been something bad for all of you guys to be here. And the cop just kind of nodded at me. So I did talk to the police multiple times, gave them all the information I had. You can kind of see here another angle. And it was not the tenant who rented the garage, but it was someone the tenant knew, I believe, because I actually talked to some people who those cars are out in front of the garages. It's not the tenants. I learned some more about that. And they said they knew who the guy was. They knew what happened. I talked to them later. And that he definitely was an acquaintance of the tenant, but not the tenant. And then, like I said, here we were at another angle, and the cop started shining his flashlight at me repeatedly. I think that meant he wanted me to go away or come talk to him. Either way, I went away. So it's been interesting, and here is more of it. So I talked to the cops. We actually had one garage that just came vacant right next to it. They opened that up and thought maybe he was crawling between garages. I told them no, there's no doors or anything. So they just waited and waited. And I feel like it was about 2 hours later, they called me and said they got the guy. He finally came out. He was arrested. They were not able to do any damage. Or they weren't. They didn't do any damage, and except for like a little hole in the garage that was already there. They knocked the board out that I showed you before. They said they thought the guy was living in there. It kind of looks like he might have been. We can't tell for sure, but we can tell because I talked to the people who were there later that day who came to get their cars. That he's a mechanic, is what they said, and he'd work on cars there, and those were their cars that were at the garage. And so they actually went into the garage and tried to find their keys and stuff because it was still open, and said they would try and secure it for him. So I'm like, whatever, I didn't see anything. The police also said that he had like a funnel set up to like pee outside of the garage door. I did not see that. I kind of looked a little bit. I saw inside a little bit. I did not see that, but that sounded a little bit crazy. He is behind on rent too. He keeps saying he'll pay. Now, obviously, we're going to post an eviction notice, and hopefully he'll just leave. But had a lot of stuff in there, and it did look like he was working on cars, but also had like a little spot divided off with a heater and stuff. I didn't see a bed, but it's possible that he might be living there, or the other guy, I don't know. So good thing we were able to give them a garage door and let them install that so that it made it much more secure when the police were coming to get them. Again, I don't know exactly what he's being arrested for. He had been arrested multiple times in the last few years from everything from evading to some drug stuff and other different things. So it could have just been lots and lots of warrants, or maybe it's something new, but there's a whole lot of people there to be arresting him just on a basic warrant. So there you can see the garage again in my beautifully clean window. And so we'll see how this evolves and what happens, but another interesting day at the Ocho. Love the likes, love the shares, love the comments. Keep those coming, and maybe we'll have some more normal videos coming up here soon. I almost forgot, this is the same tenant who I saw and said he had shot out the window of someone trying to break into the garage next door to him. Same guy. So, interesting stuff.